Welcome to ZenLight 8, where we uncover the truth society doesn't want you to see. What if everything you've been told about success, more friends, more likes, more connections, is a lie? What if the real secret to unshakable confidence isn't found in a crowded room, but in the quiet power of being alone? Stick around, because in the next few minutes we're about to flip everything you thought you knew upside down and unlock a strength most people will never find. Let's dive in. 1. The illusion of social validation. Picture this. A room packed with people, voices overlapping in a symphony of laughter and conversation. The air hums with energy. Smiles flicker, hands wave, and everyone seems to belong. It's the kind of scene we've been told to chase our whole lives. Society whispers in our ears from the moment we can listen. A man needs many friends to be successful. Happiness comes with a buzzing social circle. The more people who like you, the better you are. But what if that's all a carefully crafted lie? What if this endless pursuit of social validation, this need to be seen, heard, and applauded, isn't the golden key to a fulfilled life, but a heavy chain dragging us down? In the next few moments, let's peel back the layers of this illusion and ask, is the crowd really where confidence lives? Or is it somewhere else entirely? We've been conditioned to believe that popularity is the ultimate measure of worth. Think back to your school days. Those crowded hallways where the cool kids ruled, their laughter echoing like a currency of power. The message was clear. The more friends you had, the more you mattered. It didn't stop there either. As adults, we carry that same belief into boardrooms, social media feeds, and weekend gatherings. We're taught that a packed contact list or a flood of party invites equals success. Happiness, they say, is a group photo with a dozen smiling faces. But pause for a second. Does that ring true in your gut? Or does it feel like a script we've been handed, one we never thought to rewrite? The truth is, this relentless chase for social validation comes with a price. A steep one. It's not just about keeping up appearances. It's about keeping up a version of yourself that's always on. You know the feeling. The pressure to say the right thing, crack the perfect joke, post the ideal snapshot of your life. 1 minute, you're soaring. Someone compliments your wit, your latest post gets 100 likes, and you feel invincible. But then it flips. A single snarky comment, a friend who doesn't text back, a party you weren't invited to, and suddenly you're spiraling. That high you were riding crashes hard. Why? Because when your confidence is tied to what others think, it's not really yours. It's borrowed, fragile, and ready to shatter at the slightest push. This isn't a new game, it's just gotten louder. Social media has turned the volume up to 11 on this need for approval. Studies show the average person spends 2 to 3 hours a day scrolling, posting, liking, and refreshing. 2 to 3 hours. That's time spent crafting a digital mask, filtering photos, tweaking captions, waiting for the dopamine hit of a notification. We're not just living for ourselves anymore. We're performing for an audience that never sleeps. And what do we get for it? A fleeting rush that fades the second the likes stop rolling in. It's a treadmill we can't step off. Running, sweating, chasing, but never arriving. The more we seek validation from the crowd, the emptier we feel when the screen goes dark. Let's take it deeper. How many of those friends, the ones liking your posts or clapping you on the back, really know you? Not the polished public version of you, but the raw, unfiltered one. The you that wrestles with doubt at 3 a.m., the you that dreams big but fears failure, the you that doesn't always have it together. How many would sit with you in silence when the world falls apart? If we're honest, that number shrinks fast. A big social circle might look impressive on the surface, but it's often a mirage, wide but shallow, loud but hollow. And yet, we keep chasing it, convinced it's the path to security. Why? Because we've bought the lie that more equals better. Now, imagine this. What if the opposite were true? What if having fewer connections, or even none at all, could unlock a kind of strength most people never touch? It sounds crazy, right? We've been so wired to fear being alone that the idea feels like a betrayal of everything we know. But stay with me. What if the real cost of this social obsession isn't just exhaustion? It's the loss of something deeper. Something like you, the real you, buried under layers of performance and people-pleasing. Every time you tweak yourself to fit the crowd, you chip away at your own voice. Every time you measure your worth by someone else's nod, you hand over your power. That's the hidden toll of the validation game. It doesn't just tire you out. It disconnects you from yourself. Think about the people we admire most. The ones who seem to carry an unshakable calm, a quiet strength that doesn't bend under pressure. Are they the ones with the loudest entourages, the busiest social calendars? Not always. Often, they're the ones who've learned to stand apart, to find their footing outside the noise. They don't need a chorus of approval to feel steady. Their confidence doesn't flicker with every opinion or fade with every silence. Where does that come from? It's not magic. It's not luck. It's a choice, a radical one, to stop outsourcing their worth to the world and start building it from within. But here's the kicker, we're not taught how to do that. From the cradle, we're pushed to connect, to belong, to collect people like trophies. Sit alone at lunch? You're a loser. Skip the party? Something's wrong with you. The message is relentless. Your value lies in how many hands you shake, how many names you know. And in today's hyper-connected world, that pressure's only grown. Your follower count, your friend list, your inbox, it's all a scorecard. Fall short and you're failing. So we hustle harder, smile wider, scroll longer. We tell ourselves it's worth it, that this is what security looks like. But does it feel secure? Or does it feel like a house of cards, trembling with every breeze? Let's flip the script. Imagine waking up tomorrow and letting go of that need to be seen. No more checking your phone for likes. No more sizing yourself up against the crowd. No more bending over backwards to keep everyone happy. What's left? First, it might feel like nothing, like a void. That's the fear talking, the part of you that's been trained to panic without the buzz of approval. But push past it. Beyond that fear is something solid, something real, you. Not the you that performs or pleases, but the you that exists when the audience is gone. That's where true confidence begins. Not in the applause of others, but in the quiet certainty of knowing who you are. This isn't about cutting everyone off or swearing off human connection. It's about asking, why am I chasing this? Is it because I want it or because I've been told I should? If your social life is a stage play, rehearsed, exhausting, and built for applause, then maybe it's time to step off. Stop running on that treadmill. Stop measuring yourself by metrics that don't matter. The illusion of social validation promises security, but it delivers a cage. Break free and you might find something most people never do. A strength that doesn't need a crowd to stand tall. So here's the challenge. Next time you feel that itch, the urge to prove yourself, to win the room, to rack up the likes, pause. Ask yourself, who am I doing this for? If the answer isn't me, let it go. Strip away the noise and see what's left. It won't be easy. Society's pull is strong and the lie is loud. But the reward? A confidence that's yours, unshakable, unborrowed, and unbreakable. That's not just power. That's freedom. 2. The power of solitude. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. A man sits alone on a quiet hill, the world stretching out below him. There's no chatter, no notifications, no one to impress. Just him and the stillness. His face doesn't carry the strain of worry or the weight of expectation. Instead, there's a calm, a steadiness that radiates from within. What's his secret? It's not a packed social calendar or a flood of admiration. It's something simpler, something most of us overlook or outright fear. The solitude. What if I told you that the key to a confidence so deep it can't be shaken isn't found in the crowd, but in the moments you dare to stand alone? Let's dive into why solitude might just be your greatest untapped strength. We've been taught to dread the word solitude. Say it out loud, and it might send a shiver down your spine. It conjures images of empty rooms, forgotten souls, and a life unlived. From the time we're kids, society drills it into us. Being alone is a failure. You're supposed to be surrounded by friends, family, followers, because that's where happiness lives. Alone? That's for the outcasts, the weirdos, the ones who don't fit. But what if that's a lie we've swallowed whole? What if solitude isn't the enemy we've made it out to be, but a doorway to something powerful, something the noise of the world drowns out. Here's the first truth we need to untangle. Solitude is not loneliness. They're not twins. They're not even cousins. Loneliness is a hollow ache, a feeling of being cut off, unwanted, unseen. It's a void that gnaws at you, leaving you restless and small. Solitude, that's different. It's a choice, a deliberate step away from the clamor to sit with yourself. It's not about isolation. It's about connection, but not with others, with you. And in that quiet space, something remarkable starts to unfold. The chance to hear your own voice, to see your own shape, to build a strength that doesn't need anyone else to hold it up. Why does this matter? Because we live in a world that's terrified of silence. Think about your day. How often are you truly alone with your thoughts? Not scrolling, not texting, not drowning in music or podcasts. Just you and the quiet. For most of us, it's rare. We've been conditioned to fill every gap, to keep the noise going, because stopping feels dangerous. What if we don't like what we find? What if the silence exposes something we've been running from? That fear, it's real and it's powerful. But here's the twist. That same fear is what's keeping you from a kind of growth most people never touch. Solitude isn't the monster under the bed. It's the light that shows you what's really there. Throughout history, the people who've changed the world, thinkers, artists, leaders, have leaned into this power. Picture Einstein scribbling equations in a quiet room, or Thoreau retreating to Walden Pond, or even a painter staring at a blank canvas in the dead of night. What did they find in those solitary moments? Not emptiness, but clarity. They wrestled with big questions, confronted their doubts, and unlocked ideas that rippled outward. Their strength didn't come from applause or handshakes. It came from the courage to sit with themselves, to dig deep when no one was watching. Solitude was their forge, and it shaped them into something unshakable. Now, let's bring this closer to home. When was the last time you gave yourself that kind of space? Not a quick breather between meetings or a distracted walk with your phone in hand, but real, intentional solitude. If you're like most people, the answer might be never. And that's not your fault. It's how we're wired now. We're taught to stay busy, to stay connected, to keep the machine humming. But what's the cost? You're so busy listening to everyone else. Friends, coworkers, strangers online, that your own voice gets buried. You're so caught up in what they think that you lose track of what you think. Solitude flips that script. It's the reset button you didn't know you needed. Here's how it works. When you step into solitude, you create room to breathe. The chatter fades, the expectations dissolve, and for once, it's just you. At first, it might feel strange, uncomfortable even. Your mind might race, digging up worries or regrets you've shoved down. That's okay. That's where the magic starts. Because in those quiet moments, you're forced to face yourself. Your fears, your dreams, your rough edges. It's not always pretty, and it's rarely easy, but it's real. And in that realness, you begin to build something. A confidence that doesn't sway with every opinion or crumble under every critique. Think about it like this. Every day we're bombarded with mirrors. Other people's judgments, likes, comments, nods. They distort how we see ourselves, bending us into shapes we don't always recognize. Solitude strips those mirrors away. It's just you and the raw truth of who you are. No filters, no applause, no distractions. And in that space, you start to ask the big questions. What do I want? What do I value? Who am I when no one's watching? The answers don't come all at once. They take time, patience, maybe even a little grit. But as they surface, something shifts. You stop needing the world to tell you you're enough. You start knowing it for yourself. That's the power of solitude. It's where you forge a self that stands tall no matter who's around or not around. Imagine walking into a room and not caring who notices. Imagine facing a challenge and not needing a pep talk to push through. Imagine a storm hitting your life, loss, rejection, failure, and you weathering it with a quiet strength that doesn't flinch. That's not a fantasy. That's what happens when you stop outsourcing your worth and start rooting it in something deeper. Solitude doesn't just give you peace. It gives you power. A kind that no crowd can hand you and no critic can take away. But here's a question that might bubble up. Isn't connection important? Don't we need people? Absolutely, we do. Humans are wired for relationships, there's no denying that. Solitude isn't about locking yourself in a cave forever. It's about balance. It's about making sure that when you do connect, it's from a place of strength, not desperation. Too often, we lean on others to fill a gap, to prop us up, to make us feel whole. That's not connection. That's dependence. Solitude teaches you to stand on your own first, so when you reach out, it's because you want to, not because you have to. It's the difference between a house built on sand and one carved into rock. So how do you start? It's simpler than you think. Carve out a pocket of time. 10 minutes, an hour, whatever you can manage. No phone, no noise, no agenda. Sit with yourself. Let your thoughts roam. Write them down if you want, or just let them settle. Don't force it, just be. The first time might feel awkward, like meeting a stranger. That's okay. Keep going. The more you show up, the more familiar it gets. You'll start to hear yourself again. Really hear yourself. And in that quiet, you'll find a strength you didn't know you had. Society will push back. It'll tell you busy is better, that alone is weak. Don't buy it. The world's loudest voices don't always speak the truth. Solitude isn't a punishment. It's a gift. It's where you meet the real you, where you build a confidence that doesn't need a stage or a spotlight. So take the dare. Step into the stillness. See what's waiting there. It might just change everything. 3. Quality over quantity in relationships. Imagine a Friday night. In one corner of the world, there's a guy surrounded by a dozen people at a bar. Laughter bounces off the walls, drinks clink, and his phone buzzes non-stop with texts. He's the life of the party, the guy everyone knows. Now picture someone else. A woman sitting across from two close friends at a quiet table. The conversation is slow, deliberate, real, no flash, no crowd, just depth. Which one's richer? Society would point to the guy with the entourage, the one racking up high fives and followers. But what if that's the wrong answer? What if the real strength, the kind that holds you steady when life gets messy, comes not from a sea of faces, but from a handful of souls who truly get you? Let's unpack why quality, not quantity, might be the secret to a life that feels solid from the inside out. We've all heard the script. More friends equals more success. It's baked into us early. Those playground cliques where the kid with the biggest posse ruled the sandbox. The message stuck. Your worth is tied to how many people orbit you. Fast forward to now, and it's the same game, just with higher stakes. A packed contact list, a flood of party invites, a social media feed bursting with tags. It's the modern badge of honor. We're told that a big social circle means you're winning, happy, secure, somebody. But stop and think. How many of those connections would pick up the phone at 2 a.m. when you're falling apart? How many know the you that doesn't smile for the camera? If we're honest, that list gets short fast. And that's the crack in the facade. Quantity looks good, but it doesn't always hold up. Here's the truth we don't talk about enough. A wide social net can be a shallow one. Picture a pond, broad, shimmering, catching every eye. Now imagine a well, narrow, unassuming, but deep enough to sustain you when the drought hits. That's the difference between 100 acquaintances and a few true friends. The pond might dazzle, but it's the well that keeps you alive. We've been sold this idea that more is better. More likes, more followers, more names to drop. But when the noise fades, what's left? A buzzing phone doesn't mean a full heart. A crowded room doesn't mean you're seen. Chasing quantity can leave you surrounded yet starving for something real. Now let's flip it. What happens when you stop collecting people like trophies and start choosing them like treasures? Not everyone gets a seat at your table. Just the ones who bring something true. Trust, respect, depth. It's not about being a snob or shutting the world out. It's about knowing what matters. A small circle of authentic relationships isn't a downgrade. It's a power move. These are the people who don't just cheer when you're up. They sit with you when you're down. They don't just nod along. They challenge you, sharpen you, call you out when you're off track. In their presence, you're not performing, you're you. And that's where the magic lies. Real connection doesn't just feel good. It builds you up. Think about what makes these bonds different. 100 casual buddies might toss you a good job or a quick laugh, but they're not invested. They're in and out, surface level, fleeting. Compare that to 3 friends who know your quirks, your scars, your quiet dreams. They celebrate your wins without a hint of jealousy. They stick around when the storm rolls in, not because they have to, but because they want to. They're not afraid to tell you the truth, even when it stings, because they care enough to see you grow. That's not just friendship, that's a foundation. It's the kind of support that doesn't bend under pressure, the kind that reminds you who you are when you forget. But here's where it gets wild. These relationships don't just hold you up, they push you forward. Surround yourself with a few quality people, and you've got a greenhouse for growth. Their influence isn't loud or flashy. It's steady, subtle, profound. They're the ones who ask the hard questions. Why are you settling? What's stopping you? They're the ones who see potential you've buried and nudge you toward it. Their wisdom seeps into your perspective. Their courage rubs off on your choices. With them, you're not just coasting, you're becoming. A small circle of the right people doesn't just keep you company. It shapes you into the best version of yourself. So why do we resist this? Why do we keep chasing the crowd when depth is what we crave? The simple quantity is easier. It's less risky. Collecting acquaintances is like casting a wide net. You don't have to get too close, too real. You can stay on the surface, keep it light, avoid the messy stuff. But depth? That takes guts. It means letting people in, really in, past the polished front you show the world. It means being vulnerable, trusting someone with the unfiltered you. That's scary. What if they don't like what they see? What if they leave? Those fears are real and they're loud. But here's the thing. The reward outweighs the risk. One true friend who stays is worth more than a dozen who scatter. Let's talk about security, because that's what this all circles back to. We think a big social circle keeps us safe. More people to lean on, more voices to lift us up. But lean too hard on a shallow crowd, and it buckles. 100 friends might clap for your highlight reel, but how many stick around for the blooper reel? A few deep relationships, though, they're your anchors. They don't just prop you up, they ground you. When you've got that kind of support, you don't need the masses to feel steady. You're not swaying with every trend or crumbling under every snub. You've got a quiet confidence, a strength that says, I'm good, whether the room's full or empty. This isn't about cutting everyone off or turning into a hermit. It's about priorities. You can still chat with the neighbor, laugh with coworkers, wave at the barista. But your inner circle? That's sacred. That's where you pour your energy. Not into a sprawling network that drains you, but into a tight crew that fills you. Quality over quantity means choosing substance over show, depth over dazzle. It's a shift that flies in the face of everything we're taught. Popularity equals power, right? But it's a shift that works, because when life hits hard, and it will, it's not the size of your posse that matters. It's the strength of your pillars. So how do you build this? Start small. Look at the people in your orbit, who's real with you, who shows up, not just physically, but emotionally, who listens, challenges, stays. Those are your keepers. Let the rest drift. Not with drama, but with grace. Be picky about who gets your time. It's not infinite. And don't just wait for them to prove it. Be that friend too. Show up, dig in, go deep. Relationships like this don't bloom overnight. They grow with intention, trust, and a little sweat. But once they take root, they're unshakable. Here's the kicker. Even with these golden connections, your strength doesn't depend on them. They're not your crutch, they're your boost. The real power comes from within, from knowing you're enough on your own. A small, authentic circle just amplifies that. It's like a mirror, reflecting your worth back to you, sharpening your edges, lighting your path. Through them, you see yourself clearer, your quirks, your fire, your quiet resilience. They don't define you. They remind you who you've always been. Society will keep pushing the lie. More friends, more clout, more proof you matter. But you don't need a megaphone to be heard. You need a whisper that cuts through. Quality over quantity isn't just a choice. It's a rebellion. It's saying no to the shallow and yes to the real. So take a step back. Trim the fat. Cherish the few who stick. Because in a world obsessed with numbers, the deepest strength comes from the smallest circles, the ones that don't just surround you, but lift you higher. 4. Weathering external pressures. Picture a storm rolling in, dark clouds churning, wind howling, rain pelting down. Now imagine standing in it, not scrambling for cover, but rooted, steady, unshaken. That's the kind of strength we're chasing, not the kind that hides from the chaos, but the kind that faces it head-on. Society's like that storm, isn't it? A relentless force, pounding us with messages about who we should be, how we should live, who we should know. It tells us success is a crowded room, a buzzing phone, a life that never stops connecting. But what if that pressure's steering us wrong? What if the real victory isn't blending in, but standing apart? In the next few minutes, let's unravel how to weather these external forces, not by bending to them, but by building a core so solid they can't touch you. From the moment we're born, the world hands us a playbook. Be likable, be busy, be surrounded. It starts small, playdates, team sports, the unspoken rule that sitting alone at lunch means you're broken. By the time we're adults, it's gospel. A good life is a social one. Your calendar's full, you're thriving. Your follower count's climbing, you're somebody. Step off that treadmill. Say no to the party, skip the small talk, enjoy your own company, and the whispers start. What's wrong with him? Why is she so quiet? Society doesn't just nudge us to conform. It shoves. It paints solitude as a curse, silence as a flaw, independence as a threat. And most of us, we buy it. We hustle to fit the mold, terrified of what happens if we don't. That pressure's no accident. It's a machine, oiled and humming. Think about it. Every ad, every influencer, every sitcom screams the same tune. Happiness is a group selfie. Security is a packed bar. You're not enough unless you're plugged in, always texting, always networking, always on. Social media's the loudest megaphone yet. 2 billion voices shouting, "Look at me, love me, validate me." It's a current so strong it sweeps you up before you can catch your breath. Say no to the invite, you're antisocial. Skip the trends, you're out of touch. The message is clear: conform or be cast out. But here's the question gnawing at the edges. Is that really living or just performing? The cost isn't cheap. Running that race, keeping up, fitting in, chasing the nods wears you down. You're not just tired, you're frayed. Every yes to something you don't want is a no to yourself. Every hour spent pleasing the crowd is an hour lost to your own voice. It's like swimming against a riptide. You're thrashing, gasping, but the shore's still out of reach. And for what? A pat on the back that fades by morning? A like that's forgotten in a scroll? The irony is brutal. We chase connection to feel secure, but the more we bend to the pressure, the less we know who we are. That's not safety, that's a cage. So how do you break free? How do you stand firm when the world's yelling, move, join, follow? It starts with a quiet rebellion, one most people never dare. Step 1, know yourself. Really know yourself. Not the version you post online or the one you trot out at parties, but the raw, unscripted you. What do you value? What lights you up? What drains you dry? This isn't a 5-minute quiz. It's a dig, a slow uncovering. Sit with it. Write it down. Wrestle with the messy parts. Because here's the deal. If you don't know your own compass, society's happy to hand you theirs. Self-awareness isn't just power. It's your anchor when the winds pick up. Next, draw your lines. Boundaries aren't walls. They're shields. They're how you protect what matters, your time, your peace, your soul. Learn to say no. Not a flaky maybe or a guilty I'll try. A clear, steady no. No to the invite that feels like a chore. No to the conversation that's all noise. No to the expectation that you'll always be available. It's not rude. It's real. People won't like it. Some will push back, guilt trip, judge. That's their storm, not yours. Hold the line. Every boundary you set is a brick in your foundation, a signal to yourself and the world. I choose me, and that choice is where freedom starts. Here's the big one. Live by your rules, not theirs. Society's got a checklist: be this, do that, know them, toss it, make your own. If you value quiet mornings over loud nights, claim them. If you'd rather have one deep talk than 10 shallow ones, chase that. If your idea of success is a life that feels yours, not a highlight reel, build it. This isn't about being selfish. It's about being honest. When your choices line up with your values, not the crowd's, something shifts. The pressure doesn't vanish. It's still there, howling, but it loses its grip. You're not swimming against the tide anymore. You're standing on shore, watching it roll by. This takes grit. The world doesn't go quiet just because you tune it out. Friends might drift. Strangers might stare. You'll second-guess yourself. Am I wrong? Am I missing out? That's the old programming kicking in, the part that's scared to stray. Push through. Growth isn't comfortable. It's jagged, uneven, real. But every time you choose yourself over the script, you get stronger. You're not just surviving the pressure, you're rewriting the rules. And in that rewrite, you find a security that's yours, not borrowed from the applause or brittle from the likes. Here's the beauty. When you stop bending, you start shining. People notice, not the masses maybe, but the ones who matter. Your quiet confidence, your steady calm. It's magnetic. You're not begging for attention. You're commanding it just by being you. The right people, the ones who see past the noise, gravitate toward that. They're drawn to your clarity, your courage, your refusal to play the game. And the best part? You don't need them to. Their presence is a bonus, not your backbone. You've built that yourself, brick by brick, choice by choice. Does this mean you're bulletproof? No. The pressure's still there. Billboards flashing, feeds scrolling, voices chattering. Life storms don't stop. They just change shape. But you're different now. You've got roots, deep, stubborn, yours. A rejection stings, but it doesn't topple you. A silence feels heavy, but it doesn't scare you. You can walk into a room or walk away from it and feel the same, steady. That's not just resilience. That's power. The kind that doesn't need a crowd to prove it, the kind that stands when everything else falls. So here's the dare. Next time the world pushes, be more, do more, connect more, push back, pause, ask, is this mine or theirs? If it's not yours, let it go. Turn inward. Listen to the voice that's been waiting, yours. It's quieter than the storm, but it's truer. Build from there. Set your boundaries, pick your path, hold your ground. Society will keep spinning its story. Busy is best, alone is weak. Don't buy it. The real strength isn't in blending in. It's in standing out, not for them but for you. This isn't easy. It's a fight, against the current, against the noise, against the part of you that's scared to stray. But it's worth it, because on the other side, there's a you that doesn't flinch, a you that's free. Not from the storm, but in it. That's the ultimate win. A life that's yours, weathered but unbroken, shaped by your hands, not theirs. Take the step. The world can wait. 5. True confidence comes from within. Imagine a man standing alone in a storm. Rain lashing, wind roaring, chaos swirling around him. He's not shouting for help or scanning the horizon for rescue. He's just there, feet planted, face calm, as if the tempest can't touch him. What's holding him up? It's not a crowd cheering his name or a flood of likes lighting up his phone. It's something quieter, deeper, something inside. What if I told you that kind of confidence, the kind that doesn't flicker or fold, isn't a gift from the world, but a fire you build yourself? In the next few minutes, let's strip away the noise and uncover where true strength lives. Not in the applause, but in the stillness of knowing who you are. We've been sold a different story. Society hands us a blueprint from day one. Confidence is a numbers game. More friends, more followers, more nods of approval, that's the recipe. Picture the high school hero with the entourage, the influencer with the million likes, the guy who owns every room he walks into. We're taught that's what it looks like. Security wrapped in popularity, worth measured by how loud the crowd roars. And so we chase it. We stack up connections, polish our image, tweak ourselves to fit. One good day, a compliment, a viral post, and we're flying. One bad day, a snub, a silence, and we're crashing. Why? Because that's not confidence. That's a house of cards, trembling with every breeze. The truth hits hard. Real confidence doesn't bend with the wind. It doesn't need a stage or a spotlight. It's not loud or flashy. It's steady, rooted, yours. And it doesn't come from outside. You can't borrow it from a friend, buy it with a like, or earn it with a handshake. It's forged within, in the quiet spaces most of us avoid. Think about it. How often do you sit with yourself? Really sit, no distractions, no audience, and ask, who am I? Not who you're supposed to be, not who they want you to be, but who you are. That's where it starts. Knowing yourself, not as a reflection in someone else's mirror, but as a truth you've uncovered alone. This isn't easy. We're wired to look outward, trained to gauge our value by the nods, the claps, the "you're enough" from someone else. From the playground to the boardroom, it's the same game. Fit in, stand out, get noticed. Social media's turned it into an addiction. 2 hours a day, they say, spent scrolling for that hit of validation. A like spikes your pulse. A silence sinks your stomach. It's a cycle that never sleeps, and we're the ones running it. Exhausted, hungry, never full. But what if we stepped off? What if we stopped measuring ourselves by the crowd and started building something they can't touch? That's where solitude comes in, not as a punishment, but as a power. We've been taught to fear it, to see it as a void. Alone? That's for the lonely, the lost. But flip the script. Solitude isn't emptiness. It's space. Space to breathe, to think, to meet yourself without the noise. Imagine it. No phones, no chatter, just you. At first, it's strange, maybe even heavy. Your mind might race, dragging up doubts or dreams you've buried. Don't run. Stay. That discomfort is the soil where confidence grows. Because in those quiet moments, you face the real you. The flaws, the fire, the questions, and you start to make peace with it all. This is the work. Understanding yourself. Not the surface stuff, your job, your hobbies, but the deep cuts. What scares you? What drives you? What keeps you up at night? Solitude hands you the shovel. You've got to dig. It's messy, unglamorous, raw. You'll find pieces you don't like, insecurities you've dodged, choices you regret. But you'll also find gold, strength you didn't know you had, dreams you've hushed, a voice that's yours alone. The more you sit with it, the clearer it gets. You don't need the world to tell you who you are, you know? And that knowing is the bedrock of a confidence that doesn't budge. Living authentically seals it. Once you see yourself, really see, you can't unsee it. You stop twisting to fit the mold. You stop begging for the thumbs up. You start moving through the world as you. Not the polished mask, not the crowd pleaser, but the unfiltered, unapologetic you. It's not about being loud or brash. It's about being true. Say what you mean. Chase what matters. Let go of what doesn't. People might blink, she's changed. He's weird. Let them. Their opinions don't pay your rent or light your soul. When you live from your core, not their script, you're free, not invincible, but unshaken. Here's the paradox. This inner strength doesn't need solitude forever. It's not about cutting everyone off or swearing off connection. It's about building a foundation so solid that when you do step into the world, you're not leaning on it, you're adding to it. Friends, family, strangers, they can lift you, sure, but they don't define you. You've got that covered. A rejection stings, but it doesn't shatter. A win feels good, but it doesn't make you. You're not a puppet on their strings. You're a tree, roots deep, branches swaying but never breaking. That's the difference. External validation's a bonus, not your backbone. Why is this rare? Because it's hard. Society's pull is relentless. Be more, do more, win more. It's easier to ride that wave than swim against it. Knowing yourself takes time, hours, years, a lifetime. Embracing solitude feels counterintuitive when the world's screaming connect. Living authentically, that's a risk. People might walk away, judge, misunderstand. But the payoff's worth it. Every step inward builds a confidence that's yours, not borrowed, not brittle, but forged. It's not loud enough to drown the noise, but strong enough to stand through it. Picture this in action. You walk into a room, not scanning for approval, not shrinking to fit. You're just there, whole, steady. Someone snubs you. It rolls off. Someone praises you. It lands, but doesn't rule you. Life throws a curveball, loss, failure, silence, and you bend, but don't break. That's not a superpower. That's what happens when you stop outsourcing your worth. You've built it from scratch, in the quiet, in the truth of who you are. No one can give it to you. No one can take it away. So how do you get there? Start small. Carve out a sliver of solitude. 10 minutes, no distractions. Ask yourself, what's real for me? Not what's expected, not what's trending, what's you. Write it, think it, feel it. Keep going, make it a habit. Then test it. Say no to something that doesn't fit. Chase something that does. Watch how it feels, not perfect maybe, but solid. The more you lean into yourself, your quirks, your edges, your quiet strength, the less you need the world to prop you up. Society won't cheer this. It'll keep pushing. More friends, more likes, more proof. Nod, smile, walk away. They're games, not your truth. Confidence isn't a trophy you win. It's a fire you tend. Feed it with self-knowledge, stoke it with solitude. Let it burn bright with authenticity. It won't roar, it doesn't need to. It'll just glow, steady and sure, lighting your way. That's the real deal. A strength that's yours, unshakable, because it's built from within. Take the first step. The rest will follow. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path stretches wide and loud. Crowds beckon, lights flash, voices shout your name. It's the road we're told to take. The one paved with applause and endless connection. The other path, it's narrower, quieter, winding into the unknown. No cheering, no chatter. Just you and the promise of something deeper. Which do you choose? Society's screaming for the first, but what if the second holds the real prize? What if solitude, self-growth, and a handful of true relationships could unlock a version of you that's stronger, truer, better than you've ever been? This isn't just a thought, it's a dare. In the next few minutes, let's map out why stepping into that quiet path might be the boldest move you ever make, and how it can lead you to the best you possible. We've spent our lives running from alone. From the playground to the present, the message is relentless. More is better. More friends, more likes, more noise. Solitude, that's the boogeyman, something to dodge, something that means you've failed. But what if we've got it backwards? What if those empty spaces, the ones we're scared to face, are where the real growth hides? Picture this. A seed doesn't sprout in a storm. It needs stillness, soil, time. You're that seed. The world's chaos might keep you busy, but it's the quiet that lets you bloom. Embracing solitude isn't about hiding. It's about thriving. It's the first step to building a you that doesn't just survive, but soars. Why start there? Because solitude's your proving ground. Strip away the distractions, phones, people, playlists, and what's left? You. Raw, real, unfiltered. It's not always comfortable. The silence might hum with doubts or echo with questions you've ducked. That's the point. Growth doesn't come from coasting. It comes from confronting. In those alone moments, you get to wrestle with the big stuff. What do I want? What's holding me back? Who am I when no one's watching? No one's handing you the answers, you've got to dig for them. But every time you do, you unearth something. Clarity, strength, a piece of yourself you didn't know was there. That's not loneliness, that's power. This isn't a one-off. Make it a habit. Carve out 10 minutes today. Shut the door, ditch the screen, sit with yourself. Tomorrow, do it again. Stretch it to 20. It's not about navel-gazing. It's about building. Use that time to reflect. What lit you up this week? What dragged you down? What's one thing you'd change if no one judged you? Write it down if it helps, or just let it simmer. The goal's simple. Know yourself better than anyone else does. Because here's the truth. You can't grow into your best self if you're a stranger to your own soul. Solitude's your mirror. Look into it, and don't blink. Next, turn that inward gaze into action. Self-development isn't a buzzword. It's a commitment. You've got the raw material, now shape it. Start small. Pick one thing you want to get better at. Maybe it's patience. Next time you're stuck in traffic, breathe instead of curse. Maybe it's courage. Say no to something you'd usually fake a yes for. Maybe it's focus, read a book instead of scrolling. These aren't grand gestures. They're bricks. Every choice you make to stretch yourself, to push past the easy, builds a stronger you. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. A step today, another tomorrow, and soon you're miles from where you started. Don't stop at the solo stuff. Growth isn't just about you, it's about who you let in. Relationships matter, but not the shallow kind we're sold. Forget the sprawling network, the 100-handshake life. Go for depth. Look at your circle. Who's real? Who listens when you talk, not just waiting for their turn? Who lifts you up without keeping score? That's your crew, small, maybe, but solid. Nurture them. Show up for them, not with flash, but with heart. Call when you don't need anything. Ask the hard questions. Share the quiet wins. These bonds aren't just nice-to-haves, they're rocket fuel. They don't make you, they multiply you. Here's the catch. Meaningful doesn't mean easy. Real relationships take work, time, trust, vulnerability. You've got to let them see you, cracks and all. That's scary. What if they bolt? What if I'm too much? Risk it. The ones who stay are gold. The ones who don't were never yours. And don't just take, give. Be the friend you'd want. Steady, honest, there. A handful of these connections, 3, 2, even 1, beats a roomful of noise any day. They're your mirrors too, reflecting your worth, sharpening your edges, cheering your climb. With them, you're not just growing, you're thriving. This all ties together. Solitude, self-work, real ties. Each piece feeds the next. Alone time gives you clarity. Use it to fuel your growth. Growth builds your strength. Bring that to your relationships. Deep bonds lift your spirit. Carry that back to your quiet moments. It's a loop, a cycle that spins you upward. And where does it lead? To the best version of you, not a flawless you, but a fuller one. A you that's steady when the world shakes, bold when it doubts, true when it lies. That's not a finish line. It's a way of being, one you craft day by day. So why now? Because the world won't wait, and it won't help. It'll keep pushing. Be louder, be busier, be everyone's. It's a trap. Fall in, and you're stuck, chasing a shadow of yourself. Step out, and you're free. Not from life's mess, but from its script. You don't need a million voices to tell you you're enough. You need one, yours. And you don't find it in the crowd. You find it in the quiet, in the work, in the few who see you clear. This is your shot. Not to impress, but to become. The clock's ticking. What's your move? Here's the dare. Start today. Grab 5 minutes, right now if you can. No phone, no noise, just you. Ask. What's one thing I'd do if I didn't care who watched? Let it sit. Then act. One small step toward it. Say no to a drain, say yes to a spark. Tomorrow, check your circle. Reach out to one person who gets you. Not a text, a call, a coffee, a real moment. Keep it rolling. A little solitude, a little growth, a little connection, every day. It's not flashy, it's fierce. You're not just living, you're building. The pushback will come. Friends might fade, she's too quiet. He's too picky. Society will scoff. Alone again? Small circle? Let it. Their noise isn't your truth. You're not here to fit their box. You're here to break it. Every time you choose yourself, your growth, your people, your path, you're chiseling away at the old you, revealing the real one. It's not instant. It's steady. A week in, you'll feel it. A month in, you'll see it. A year in, you'll be it. A you that doesn't flinch, doesn't fake, doesn't fold. This is the call. Don't fear the quiet, claim it. Don't coast on shallow, dig for deep. Don't settle for good enough, reach for your best. Solitude's your space. Growth's your fuel. Real relationships your wings. Together, they lift you, not to some perfect peak, but to a life that's yours, unshakably yours. You've got the tools. You've got the time. The only question left is, will you? Step up. Start now. The best you's waiting, go get it. So here we are at the end of this journey together. A moment to pause, to breathe, to let it all sink in. We've walked through the noise of the world, peeled back its layers, and found something truer beneath. Solitude isn't a shadow to fear. It's a light to step into. Growth isn't a race to win. It's a path to carve. Relationships aren't a tally to boast. They're a bond to cherish. And confidence? It's not a gift from the crowd. It's a fire you ignite within. This isn't just a rethink. It's a redo. A chance to stop chasing what's loud and start building what's real. The best version of you isn't out there in the chaos. It's right here, waiting in the quiet, ready to rise with every step you dare to take. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Embrace the stillness as your strength. Pour your energy into growing, not proving. Surround yourself with the few who lift you, not the many who drain you. You don't need the world's applause to stand tall. You need your own roots, deep and unshaken. It's not easy, but it's yours. Every choice you make, every no to the shallow, every yes to the true, brings you closer to a life that doesn't just look good, but feels right. That's the prize. A you that's steady, authentic, alive. Take it, build it, be it. And to you, the incredible ZenLight 8 community, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for sticking with me through every word, every thought, every challenge. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching, you're seeking, you're daring, you're ready. You're the reason this channel exists, the heartbeat behind every video. Your time, your attention, your willingness to dive deep. It means more than I can say. This isn't just my voice. It's our conversation, our journey. So keep going, keep reflecting, keep growing, keep shining. You're not alone in this. We're in it together. Until next time, stay true, stay bold, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, ZenLight 8 family, you're amazing.